Hello everybody, welcome to the session by Shirogane. Today's session we're going to be talking about a shoujo anime. What a shoujo anime is basically an anime that's marketed for girls. As you could probably guess from my multiple hentai videos, that I'm a dude. I don't watch a lot of shoujo anime, but recently I have watched His and Her Circumstance, or Kareshi Kanojo no Jijo. The story follows Miyazawa is a very popular girl and she treats herself as a very modest, fancy person, but in truth she is a very lazy human being, that she's just doing all of this as an act. She meets a boy, Arima, who is from a richer family who had a bad background and sort of went to bankruptcy. You see, 4 episodes in, and I was totally hooked. This show, until this point, was in a very fast pace compared to other rom-coms. Other rom-coms usually take either their whole series about just trying to ask someone out, or takes about a 3/4 of the series to ask someone out. They did this in 4 episodes. What is crazy is that it didn't feel rushed at all. It was a very slow paced, and to be frank, if you don't have an IQ of 12, you would know that the main girl is going to go out with the main guy. You're not retarded, and for them to just sort of speed it up towards that point is somewhat appreciated. The rest of the season is just their process of getting to know each other better and sort of figuring out relationship problems, What is absolutely fucking insane is that in episode 18, they had sex. You know how crazy that is? You would think, right? In romantic animes, the goal into dating someone, into loving someone, is to basically sleep with them. Nobody in the fucking world sleeps with their waifus. It's actually insane. We need to go to doujins to even fantasize about these girls getting naked. In this show, they made it a fucking arc. Do you know how insane that is? They have a sex arc. To take example, a show like Chunibyo, after they dated, right? The first season was just them trying to figure out each other's feelings and eventually asking each other out. The second season was about them kissing. The whole plot for Rika to finally kiss his boyfriend. And there was like this whole tease for the whole entire season just for them to get cocked. Do you know how insane that is? Just for them to get cocked. Karekano, it's a very grounded anime. And when I say that, I mean this anime is full of human characters. I've said this before in multiple videos. My one problem with just anime characters in general is that sometimes they don't feel human. And I get when an elf acts like a retard and it's an elf. My problem is when characters are sort of not deep enough to even be considered as human. If you take a character like Tomozaki from Jakuchara Tomozaki-kun, Tomozaki is very, very cardboard cutout, just simple. You've seen someone like Tomozaki literally everywhere. It's literally copy-paste from so many animes. In the case of Karekano, nobody's like that. Nobody's the stereotypical tsundere. Nobody's the stereotypical cheery girl. There's no girls or any characters in that matter who's like that. And every character in this show is incredibly deep and just feels genuinely human. For example, Arima, if was written in 2021, is going to be your Tomozaki-kun, the guy who gets the girl, the guy who gets girls just surrounding him. But in this show, we see Arima show like this weakness. We see him not having the perfect relationship with his parents. We see him being possessive at times. We see him sort of controlling even. He's definitely not a perfect person, but he's still a good person and you can't help to cheer him. And that's not only Arima in the show. That's Miyazawa, that's Maho, that's Tsubasa, that's Hideki, that's everyone in the show. Even minor characters like the two sisters. Later on the show, they have a special dedicated episode just to make them feel like they're human and they're not just there as some sort of prop. Also, another thing that I incredibly appreciate in this anime is the directing of the show. I finished the anime and I will never read the manga because the anime is directed in such a special way that it cannot be recreated in the manga. Like, for example, in episode 19, the directing in that episode is borderline insane. Like, they didn't need to do that episode in that way with papers and this random dude with an incredibly realistic face. They didn't need to do that episode in that way, but they did, and they just made the experience so much better. The studio who did this, Gainax, is a studio that's well known to make shows like Fooly Cooly or Evangelion, and some parts of the feel of Evangelion, like in the last episode of Evangelion, that sort of surreal feel of the mixing reality and anime is somewhat represented in this show as well. I could go on and on the compliments in the show, but it is not a perfect show. I was caught off guard, and if anyone knows anything about this show, is that the ending was garbage. The ending was a complete letdown, and I also agree. So what happened in the last 6 episodes were they were leading up to this big arc in the culture festival, and the anime really didn't finish that arc. They just sort of left it literally in the middle of it. It sucks. It incredibly sucks because this show was on track to be one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen. It was honestly breaching top 10 for me. At the time, until episode 18, I would have think this was better than any popular rom-com that you've ever seen. Your Toradoras, your Kaguyas, your Lie in Aprils. I honestly thought that this was better by a fine margin until that ending happened, bro. That unfinished ending. And it just sucks. It just genuinely sucks. This show was aired at 1998 and finished at 1999. Right now it's 2021. And if they haven't done something even to finish that arc, like a movie or anything, they're not gonna do it now, you know? It's been 21 years. They're not gonna somehow just start working on the movie. It's one of the biggest letdowns in anime history, in my opinion. It's literally that you got us in the first half meme. Do I recommend you to watch the show? Definitely. Episode 1 till episode 18 is one of the best rom-com stories that you'll ever see in your entire life. And I fully take that opinion. But if you don't want to feel let down by the unfinished ending, then stop in episode 18. But if you want to continue and take every single anime piece that you can, I think you can watch till episode 26. And it sucks that it ended that way. It really sucks. But yeah, that's it. Peace.